Well, this video on ornamentation is going to apply ornamentation, actually give you some examples to learn from. Already on YouTube and toread.net, I have a couple of videos of my performance of Vivaldi's La Notte, which is a concerto for bassoon and a small string ensemble. You might want to study that piece, get the music, and see the many ornaments that I put into that. But let's take a look at some examples here.
There are several places in Baroque music where you should consider adding ornamentation. Cadences is one of those places. Not all Baroque music will indicate trills, but you should consider that when you're looking at your compositions. Also with repetitions. Now some repetitions happen due to repeat signs where a section is repeated, but sometimes you have repetitions due to sequences. And in those either cases, you should consider providing ornamentation on repeated segments to provide interest. Don't forget to consider articulations and dynamics when you're varying your music. Baroque treatises emphasize varied styles of tonguing, and often modern articulation is really devoid of the different styles of tonguing in Baroque music, so you should consider that. Baroque tonguing patterns often include 3 slurred and 1 tongued, but almost never 2 slurred and 2 tongued notes. The pattern 2 slurred and 2 tongued notes is common in the classical period and Romantic period, but not in the Baroque period, and you should avoid that. Consider adding dynamics also for added interest. Often you'll hear in Baroque music the echo dynamic, where you have one phrase played forte, for instance, and then upon the repetition, that phrase played at a quieter dynamic. Now, let's consider some music here as we apply our ornaments. Here is the opening of the Andante movement of the Telemann Sonata in A minor for bassoon. This opening passage is repeated, so the first time I would play this without any sort of variation, but the second time I definitely would vary it. This is pretty common to what I do in my music. I will put in some added notes here indicating the ornamentation I'm adding to the music. This ornamentation I only play the second time around. At the end of the movement, as you can see, there is no trill at the cadence, so it's my pattern to add the trill at the end of the cadence. So let me begin first by playing for you the opening segment of this. I'll play it without ornament the first time, the way I play it, and then I'll play it the second time with the ornament. Then I will conclude this by playing the entire first section of that Andante as I would play it in the performance. So now you've had the chance to hear this slightly ornamented version. You notice that I kept this movement quite simple. It seemed to be a beautiful melody, so I added just a few ornaments to provide some variation. Most of the ornamentation I did was at the beginning of the Andante. You might have noticed that the second line I did very little ornament, and that was because I had this dialogue going back and forth between the two voices. I had the if you had heard this performed with all the parts, you would hear that the cello or the continuo part starts out with these staccato notes. By the way, these little daggers are the way they showed staccato in the Baroque period. Started out with staccato here, and then I have staccato notes that imitate that in the bassoon. Then this line with 16ths is imitated then in the other part. If I had decided to put an ornament here, then I would have asked for the other part to put in an ornament as well. You might have noticed that I did not use vibrato, or at least very little vibrato. That tends to be my practice for Baroque music. Vibrato is actually a 20th century development. Vibrato in the Baroque time was actually an ornament applied to just certain notes. So I try to minimize vibrato or use very little when I play Baroque music, just to focus on the purity of sound and to try to emulate the style a little better. I hope this has given you some ideas for applying your ornamentation. And I hope you go on to the 5th video where you get a chance to test yourself and try some ornaments yourself. God bless you. Bye.